Hello guys, my name is Timur Gareyev. I'm a chess grandmaster. You probably heard of my journey to attempt and set the world record playing 50 games blindfolded. Today we're gonna focus on the principles of developing initiative, and I will share with you several examples, including a couple of, I think, my friends' favorite games from US Chess Championships versus Garakamsky and Sam Savian. So we're gonna start out with the game I played against Gara and the Wing Gambit. For me, it was kind of a spontaneous choice. I just showed up that day, and I decided why not to try something new, something interesting. And actually, Nakamura suggested that was if I was gonna attempt some against a wing gambit against the player at a U.S. Championship, Garakamsky was probably be the one. So Gara responded with d6 here. This knight f3, by the way, is kind of a rare line. Generally, white would continue with a3 right away, which I actually go ahead and play a couple moves later. So I push in the middle. The idea of playing a gambit is to take the initiative by sacrificing material and taking over space in the middle, as it happens in this game. So Gara develops his knight. I get my bishop out to d3, g6, getting the bishop fianchetto on the king side. At which point I challenge the pawn on b4. Pawn takes. At this point I'm not in a hurry to pick up the pawn, but I do, on the other hand, have the opportunity to take with a bishop, knight, or a rook, and I'm going to decide as we go along. At this point I just go ahead and castle, bishop to g7, and I found h3 to be a useful move, since the bishop on c8 is going to be quite restricted if it's not coming out to g4. Castle, bishop comes out to g5. I wasn't quite sure what to do with the knight on b1, and later I actually came out to c3, which seemed to work out pretty good. So knight c3, and at this point Gara had several opportunities, including hitting the bishop, getting the knight out to h5, but he chose coming backwards, which coming out backwards towards d7, which is actually not uncharacteristic of his defensive style. On the other hand, knight d7 does allow me to go forward with the knight to d5. It's not exactly an outpost because my knight might get kicked out, but at this point my bishop is on diagonal. Speaking of which, I was actually committed to retreat my bishop out to h4, keeping an eye on that e7 pawn and actually allowing black to push for g5. So a lot of the times, if you want to keep the initiative, you have to exercise courage. So g5 hitting the bishop, and at this point I would have been committed to capture, and actually bishop g5 is the strongest idea, as pawn takes, knight captures on g5 with the idea to come out to h5 with a queen. Interestingly here, knight f6 is going to be losing to e5 as black picks up the knight on d5. Queen h5 is winning with a mating attack, and if d takes e, then we got knight f6, pawn takes, queen goes to h5, and it's impossible to stop all of white's threats.